Well, hi, I'm Jeff Strong. I'm creator of the Auditory Brain Stimulation Therapy Rhythmic Entrainment Intervention. I'm also co-founder and creative director of BrainShiftRadio.com. And every week I do a video kind of talking about different aspects of rhythmic entrainment intervention or music on BSR. Sometimes I go into real great detail about kind of the mechanism that we're using here with entrainment, with stimulation, progressive stimulation. In this video, I just want to give you an introduction into sleep and then play for a bit so you can really get a sense for what this feels like. That doesn't mean you need to fall asleep. And I'm not going to call it a meditation because you don't need to do anything. You just need to have it on in the background. Sleep is one of the most common areas that I work with rhythmic entrainment and intervention, and it's one of the most popular categories in BrainShift Radio. And there's two aspects to sleep. One is transitioning to sleep. Getting to that point where you can just fall to sleep on your own. I don't approach it trying to bring somebody into the low end of sleep through entrainment. I want to get them into a pre-sleep state and then have them transition into sleep on their own. The other aspect of sleep with REI deals with the REI custom program. We're progressively building the stimulation to help you change your sleep patterns and stay asleep. But falling asleep is something that is really simple to do. It's a very specific approach that I do, and I want to play that for you today. So when I talk about transitioning to sleep, what I'm talking about is bringing the brain into a pre-sleep state that then you can shift at your own pace and your own way into the level of sleep. Keeping in mind that sleep is really multiple brainwave states, depending on what part of sleep you're in. So the best thing to do, as far as I'm concerned, to get you to go to sleep is to put you in this pre-sleep state. This is the low end of the alpha state of consciousness. Alpha is the outwardly directed, relaxed state. We call it neurological calm, but it's a little slower. Alpha exists between about 8 to around 12, 13 hertz or cycles per second. Theta is the next slower state, which goes from about 8 down to 4 cycles per second. And this is an internally directed state. This is a state that we drift through on our own to get into sleep. And what I found really is the best tempo to play for getting someone into this transition place is 7.4 beats per second. So it's a little slower than the lowest end of alpha, even though alpha and theta transition is not like a wall that you all of a sudden now you're from alpha down into theta. It's like anything else that's a spectrum. It's a scale, and this we find is the most productive place to help you transition to sleep. 7.4 beats per second. So I'm going to play a little bit. At this tempo, and I've talked a lot about this in my videos, where I talk about when you're playing slower, you can have more repetitive rhythms. When you're playing faster, you need more complexity, more variability. 7.4, we need some variability, but it needs to not be so complex as to engage you to the point where you're going to start focusing and then want to stay awake. So I'm going to be playing rhythms that are kind of variable, but aren't so chaotic that they're going to jar you out of this transition into this pre-sleep state. So you'll notice some musicality to it. You'll notice some themes recurring. You'll notice if you were to count out the rhythms and you're a musician and you can count time signatures, you're going to notice that most of them are in a time signature with the denominator of 4. 4/4, 3/4, 7/4. I'm not going to be going into denominators of 16 because I don't want to jar you. I don't want to play a 7/16 or a 13/16 pattern because it's an odd pattern that will kind of engage you in a different way. So you'll notice that as I play it, it's really straightforward. So I'm going to play for about maybe 8 or 10 minutes or so. If you're inclined to go to sleep to this, just sit back and relax. You don't have to do any kind of visualizations or anything. Just have it on quietly in the background. Otherwise, just enjoy what I'm doing and see how this feels different than some of my other places where I'm playing different patterns. So this is 7.4 beats per second to help you get into the pre-sleep state and transition to sleep.